In this video, I'd like to show you how to format your essay using the APA Guidelines 7th edition. Now, with the 7th edition, there are some changes, and in particular, students no longer have to supply an abstract or a running head. If your instructor does ask for one of those things, then just stay tuned for the end of the video, and I will cover these items there. The first thing you want to do in your essay is provide a page number. There's a couple ways to do this in Microsoft Word. You can simply double-click at the top of your page, and it will open up the Design tab, and you can click on Page Number. The other way to do it is to go to the Insert button here, and that provides another option as well. So we'll click on Page Number, top of the page, and plain number 3. Now you want to make sure that you use the same font and the same font size throughout your essay. The only exception would be footnotes, which can be smaller, and some tables and figures. There's some room there as well. So I'm just going to press Ctrl A, which highlights all the text in the headers, and go back to Home. I'm going to use Times New Roman, size 12, because I like that font. But the 7th edition of the APA Guidelines allows you quite a bit of flexibility. There are some other fonts that you can use as well. So having done that, I'm going to click outside of my header area. Okay, and I'll put our cursor at the top here. Now we're going to set up the rest of our paper, and we want to make sure that all of our paper, I'll press Ctrl A again here, all of our paper is double spaced, so 2.0. And we also want to make sure there's no extra spacing before or after paragraphs. All right, so having done that and having made sure that we use Times New Roman, size 12, get rid of the bold for the moment, we now need to press Enter 3 to 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3 is fine as well. And we're going to add our essay title at this point. We'll center it, and then we'll type it out. So let's come up with a title here. Let's see here. Transference in the Classroom. And we'll add a subtitle, a case study of Sci 303. There we go. Now we need to make sure that our title is bold and centered as mentioned. And it should also be in title case, which means that important words in the title are capitalized, but smaller words such as prepositions and articles and so on are not. Notice that after the colon, however, we do capitalize even the smaller words. If your title is quite long, then you can put it across 2 lines, and this works especially well after the colon. So you could do it like this, but in this case, because the title is short enough, we can just keep it on 1 line. Okay, so there we are again. We're going to press Enter a couple of times after our title, which means that there's going to be a space, a bigger space between our title and the rest of the information that goes on the front page. So at this point, we put our own name. So let's just make up a name here. Make sure you also add your initial in the middle. And if you have multiple people working as a group, you can provide a second name by just putting and then the other name. If you have even more names than that, then just separate them with commas and put and before the final name. After this, we're going to make sure we add our department of Psychology, let's say, followed by the university. And we'll just make up a fake university here. Next line is going to be our course name. So let's just call this Psych 303, and we'll call this Freud. There you go. That's as much as I know about psychology. Then we add the instructor's name. So Dr. James H. Hansen, let's say. And finally, the date. Now, the tendency or the preference with APA is that you write out the entire month. So let's say January 27th, 2020. But there are some different date formats as well. You could reverse the month and the day, for instance. So there are different options at this point. The next thing to do is we need to go to the next page to start our essay. And to do that, we're going to insert a page break. So insert a page break. Do that for each section of your paper because it really nicely keeps things separate and stops things from kind of flowing around or moving around to the wrong place. At this point, we need to repeat our title. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste our title. There we go. There's our title. Again, it's centered. And then once we start our text, we're going to make sure our text is left aligned, but we also want to indent our first paragraph. In fact, every paragraph is indented. Blah, 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 blah. So let's just pretend that our essay starts here. Notice that there is no extra spacing before or after headings. You also don't have to add a heading that says introduction or something like that. There shouldn't be additional headings between the title and your first paragraph. Later in the essay, you can use other headings to organize the information, and these might be headings such as method or results or discussion. Those are common headings. And as you organize that information, the APA provides 5 different levels of headings. These have changed a little bit from the 6th edition, so try to figure out which ones to use. And for all of them, you're supposed to use title case. So make sure again that you capitalize important words. The last part of your essay is the references page. And to show what that looks like, I've kind of formatted it here already. Again, references, the word is going to be in bold in the center. And then your first entry is going to be on the left here, so left aligned. But I've also used a hanging indentation. And to do that, you go to Paragraph, click on the little button, and go to Special and select Hanging. And from this point on, all your entries are going to be hanging. So when you press Enter, it'll go back to the left margin, but as you keep typing, it will indent each line after the first for every single entry. So that would be the references page. Now, if your instructor does ask for an abstract or running head, let me show you very quickly at how to do that. First, the abstract. So for the abstract, we need to go back to our first page, and then we need to insert a page break. There we go. I'm going to type abstract, and we will bold it. We'll bold it. Then we'll start our abstract, and again, it needs to be not bold and left aligned. There we go. And in this case, the paragraph does not need to be indented. This is the one exception in the essay. So don't indent this one. Also make sure it's a single paragraph and it's a maximum of 250 words. And then finally, for the running head, you can do this in any header really, but you just double click in the header, you start typing, and you can use a shorter version of your title. Doesn't even have to be exactly the same words. You can kind of paraphrase, but make sure that you use all caps. So everything is in capital letters. There we go. And make sure that it's no longer than 50 characters. And that also includes the spaces actually between the words. After you've typed that, press the tab button twice. 1, 2. And now it's on the left side, while your page number stays on the right. And that's it for how to format an APA paper.